Yo, what's going on guys, it's Cynical and welcome back to another Kingdom Hearts 4 news and information video. It's going to take some time getting used to saying that, it's so strange, but how's it going fellas? We do have a little bit of news and information that came out of the 20th anniversary event yesterday from the Q&A session to do with the development team. They gave us a few interesting little tidbits here for Kingdom Hearts IV, so without further ado, let's dive into it. Massive shout out to Abo as well as Toro, who were there physically at the event yesterday, who provided us with these different answers from the Q&A session, as well as Cage13 for translating them. First up, we have a little tidbit talking about more information towards the game. It said here, more information will only come at a very later date, way after E3's period. We only revealed this much to avoid it being leaked early. Technically, Kingdom Hearts 4 really has been leaked early. I mean, not everyone was taking the Nvidia game list leak at complete face value, but of course, as time has sort of progressed, more and more of us are like, okay, yeah, this leak is real, which likely means that IV is real too. But Kingdom Hearts has had quite a strenuous history of leaks. I mean, especially when we look towards Kingdom Hearts 3, it faced quite a few leaks leading up to the release of the game, including even like a database breach for Square Enix, revealing all sorts of different things, worlds, key information. So in a sense, like, I'm kind of happy that they ended up doing this. I really do hope, though, that they haven't revealed Kingdom Hearts 4 too early in a similar case to Kingdom Hearts 3. I almost know for absolute sure that it's not going to be a case like KH3. Keeping in mind, when we look at Kingdom Hearts 3, it was originally meant to be developed with Square Enix's own in-house engine, but in 2014, Square Enix changed the game engine to the Unreal 4 engine. This meant that they had to completely start over from scratch and also learn a completely new game engine. This obviously delayed the process, and Nomura himself even mentioned during Kingdom Hearts 3's development cycle that yes, they did in fact reveal the game way too early. This seems to be a bit of a trend when it comes to Square Enix with some of their big titles, but I do have faith here for Kingdom Hearts 4 that it is not going to be a wait like Kingdom Hearts 3 was. 2013 to that of 2019, that's quite some time. And this next piece of information sort of brings me on to the next point I was going to bring up. It mentions here all of the footage in the trailer is rendered in real time by the game engine. So this is not pre-rendered CG in similar fashion to that very first Kingdom Hearts 3 reveal trailer that we got. That was pre-rendered CG to give us sort of an idea as to what gameplay would look like in the game. No, this is proper in-engine gameplay that was seen here in Kingdom Hearts 4. That is a very good sign. Things have already been developed. I would say that Kingdom Hearts 4 has likely been in development since sometime after the development of Kingdom Hearts 3. I'd like to imagine that they kind of just jumped straight into it, and that Remind, to a certain degree, was developed side by side with the beginnings of the pre-production of Kingdom Hearts 4. I don't mean in full-blown development. I think that probably would have started sometime after Remind wrapped up. But you have to keep in mind that Square Enix have so much more experience with the Unreal Engine now than they did when they began Kingdom Hearts 3, right? So with all of this experience already in hand, and then also on top of the fact that assets and stuff have already been created, this development period is not going to be anywhere near as strenuous as Kingdom Hearts 3's was. I honestly would look at sometime late next year, or somewhere around the beginning or middle to 2024. I think that is pretty realistic. Most of next year serving as the promotion cycle for Kingdom Hearts 4. Or if not 23, then we look at somewhere like January to March of 2024. Kingdom Hearts games seem to like to release in the January to March period. Just jumping back to that first piece of information that we were talking about, information will come at a very later date, way after E3's period. That to me seems like we will still get some more information this year towards the game, but way after E3's period. That tells me likely towards the end of the year. We have 4 potential events that are happening this year where Kingdom Hearts 4 has a pretty high chance of popping up. So the first one we have is D23. It is happening this year. I believe it happens every second year, and Kingdom Hearts in the past has had a history of revealing stuff at D23. It is a Disney event, and it's happening from September 9th to September 11th. Now pretty soon after that is the Tokyo Game Show, another big one with a lot of history with Kingdom Hearts revealing new information. That's happening September 15th through to September 18th. So in my opinion, it could seem quite likely to reveal a little something something at D23 and then have something maybe bigger or to give more context on that at the Tokyo Game Show. We then have 2 events in December where it's possible Kingdom Hearts 4 could pop up. The first one is the Game Awards. We currently right now don't have a solid date for as to when this is going to happen, but it happens every single year. It's a pretty big show, all eyes are generally on it, so it's a good place to unveil brand new stuff. And then the final event is Jump Festa, which is primarily more so of a manga anime type event, but it also integrates video games into it as well. This is a Japanese event too, and Kingdom Hearts has had a bit of history towards showing stuff off at Jump Festa. Square Enix are usually always there. This is happening from December 18th through to December 19th. So yeah, there's quite a few different spots throughout this year where Kingdom Hearts 4 could certainly pop up. I think all of them are viable, but I would probably put my money on the December events more so than anything, just with the wording of come at a very later date, way after E3's period. That kind of tells me, alright, yeah, right at the end of the year sort of thing. The next tidbit is we have the confirmation as to exactly what engine Kingdom Hearts 4 is going to use. And now the trailer is apparently running in Unreal Engine 4, but Kingdom Hearts 4 will be developed using the new Unreal Engine 5. Now, honestly speaking, this is kind of quite exciting, but does take me back a little bit. I was really expecting them to develop the next Kingdom Hearts game on Unreal Engine 4, have at least one more KH game on Unreal Engine 4, because this also tells me that if they are using Unreal Engine 5, this is likely to be a PlayStation 5/Xbox Series X game only, and not looking at previous gen like PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Now, Unreal Engine 5 is supported and is compatible with last gen, so don't get me wrong, it's very likely that they could come out with a last gen version of KH4, but I mean, if we are looking at a 2024 release date, at that stage, that's when last gen is looking at starting to get phased out. By 2026, last gen will pretty much almost completely be phased out in the sense of game support. I mean, if it's anything like PlayStation 2, that got supported for like years and years and years on end. So I mean, what do I know? For those of you who are still searching for a PlayStation 5, I bid you luck. I definitely bid you luck. But yeah, so interesting. The trailer itself is in Unreal Engine 4, but yeah, it will be developed using Unreal Engine 5. Holy moly, yeah, this is going to be a step up from what we got to see and experience in Kingdom Hearts 3. I mean, KH3 in itself really took me back, because that was the first time we ever got a true Kingdom Hearts experience in like a next gen format with crazy looking visuals. So this next experience of Kingdom Hearts 4 is going to look even wackier, even wilder, and especially now that of course the art style is more for like a photorealistic type look, being in Quadratum, a real world, and likely the Disney properties seem to be like they're going to revolve around the live action side of the IPs, you know, like Marvel and Star Wars, as we've kind of talked about. Next up, the logo style has changed because we're done with the Seekers of Darkness saga. So yeah, this is what I was saying when I was talking about the logo. The logo is very interesting. It's going to take me some time to get used to it. I have to say that the old logo format with the classic font and stuff, in my opinion, is just so much better. I don't know, there's something about this that looks, I guess, too simplistic, but I feel at the same time that's probably in line for where the game is story-wise, being in like a real world, so it kind of does make sense. But interesting, this means for each saga or arc of Kingdom Hearts, the logo will change. So that's why when we look at Kingdom Hearts Missing Link, that game's logo is still in the classic format, right? Because of the fact that that game is taking place within that original saga. They go on to say that a new world is currently in development. Now, I'm not sure if they're talking about the world that was at the very beginning of the trailer. That forest environment we're all pretty sure is indoor, and it seems as if Quadratum we'll be using Disney's other properties from like the likes of Star Wars or Marvel, and not so much worlds pertaining to Walt Disney Animation or Pixar. That to me makes the most sense, and given that a lot of their outer properties are all, of course, live action, that really does fit the setting of Quadratum quite nicely. Or if they're more so referring to the fact of a world that just didn't appear in that trailer whatsoever, which is the likely case. And again, I really do feel as if these worlds are going to be the outer properties, so it potentially could be a Marvel world that is in development. It's going to be really interesting to see like how that's going to work if that is true. I am really totally down on Star Wars. Like at the beginning, around the time that Kingdom Hearts 3 was first revealed, we had these ideas of Star Wars being a world and like Marvel being a world, and I, for one, was like really against the idea, but over time, I don't know, I kind of just came closer and closer and closer to it, and like also finding out that Tetsuya Nomura is a massive Star Wars fan, I'm kind of like, I'm sure that he would make it work pretty well. So I'm more on board with Star Wars, in my opinion, and I'd love to see a lightsaber Keyblade. I think that would look dope. But Marvel's kind of a different story. But again, I do have faith in Tetsuya Nomura. It's kind of wacky and weird to think that we're potentially getting these as worlds for this upcoming KH4. But at this point, I am certain that anything really is possible. Next up, Nomura was uncertain on whether to call it Verum Rex or Kingdom Hearts 4, but ultimately decided on Kingdom Hearts 4 due to concern that the name Verum Rex would not connect to Sora. So yeah, look at that. This game was possibly going to be called Verum Rex, but rather changed to KH4 as it better connects to Sora, and I totally agree. As Nomura has mentioned in the past, the numbered Kingdom Hearts titles directly relate to that of Sora, meaning Sora is the main protagonist. I will also mention though that it's totally possible that for one big portion of the game we totally could be playing as Yozora. If this game originally did have the idea for it to be named Verum Rex, then obviously it makes me think that Yozora involvement is going to happen. Like Sora's in Quadratum, so obviously Yozora is going to pop up. But for a Kingdom Hearts game after Kingdom Hearts 4, that concept of the name Verum Rex could very likely be used for a solo Yozora game, which is something that I really do want at some point. But I think to get this introduction and explanation into the world of Quadratum, I think the best way to do it is via the shoes of Sora. He's the one that we're most familiar with. We're going to be asking different things about this brand new world. Confusion will strike us just as it will with Sora. So I think the immersion will seem a little bit more immersive in that sense of having the introduction to this new world as Sora, and rather than having a solo Yozora game to serve as Quadratum's introduction. But I am sure in the future, a Yozora game will follow. And last up, the narration on both trailers is done by a character you have known for a long time. And in brackets here, KH13 have mentioned that Toro, the one who kindly shared all of this information, mentions that they speculate it might be young Xehanort. This would make a little bit of sense, to be honest, if we line up the fact that young Xehanort as well as Ericus are playing a brand new game of chess. That is, of course, the foretellers, with one piece being Sora. It would make sense for at least one of those characters to kind of commentate certain different things. They're playing that game which is referencing this next saga, so to me that would make a lot of sense. And I'm sure in the future of Kingdom Hearts, whether it be KH4 or going forward, Xehanort will likely still pop up. In essence, I don't mean like he's going to come back to life or anything like that, but I think there could be some kind of flashbacks to the time of Scala. I think the whole ghost thing is totally possible, I mean, let's be honest. But I couldn't identify who was commentating. I'm only assuming that it is like a foreteller of sorts, but I don't know. I'm not familiar with the Japanese voice actors for the Kingdom Hearts games, so to me, I just didn't really think too much about it. But apparently people do not know who this character is, but it is a character we have known for some time. Alright guys, that's another wave of Kingdom Hearts 4 news. Some interesting tidbits in here for sure. Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, as I would love to know. And until next time guys, I'll catch you later. Peace.